Hello again, fellow BeachBum traders, and welcome to part 2 of our weekly trading game plan for the week of August 15th through August 19th. And in part 2, we'll take our market analysis and our strategies and our trade ideas that we identified in part 1 yesterday, and we will pick the stocks to put on our watch list for trading for next week, the week of August 15th through August 19th. Thank you all who are joining us for our live stream and the live chat today. Good morning again, Spacula. Glad to see you. Thank you again for joining us and for all your support. So we'll go ahead and get started. So here's our notes for our weekly trade game plan for part 2. If you have not already seen part 1, titled Inflation Cooling Down but It's Still Hot, where we talk about, the CPI data, the PBI data we got last week, the fact that it's showing inflation cooling down, but that inflation is still hot, and how we're going to trade that. We'd recommend you see that in part 1. We also talked about some of our strategies. So again, we'll apply those strategies in picking our stocks for this week. This is our Google Docs document of our notes. You can find this notes. I'll put a link in the comments below when we're done. And you can also find this in the Google Drive folder. And you can find a link to these, the Google Drive folder and all of our previous notes in that drive via that link in the description box below. So it'll have all the links, etc. Good morning, Tanavir. Thank you for joining. Glad to see you again today. Hope everyone's doing well. So firstly, we'll just talk about some of the trades that we made last week, and I'm going to jump back and forth, and we'll do some analysis of some of these trades and then how we're looking to play these forward. One of our major themes right now is trading semiconductors, cycles in semiconductors. SOXS, SOXS, is the short on semiconductors, and you can see we had entered a trade on the 8th at 36.16. We got stopped out on the 10th at 38.28. We made a ROI of 6%, which equates to a monthly ROI of about 88%. Congratulations to all of our fellow BeachBum traders who's also profited from that scalp swing and shorting semiconductors. As you'll see, SOXS, SOXS, is one of our primary focuses on our watch list for this week. I want to jump over to Webull really quickly and just look at that trade, do a little bit of analysis review of that trade with you. So you can see we entered on the 8th. Go to SOXS. That was at LABD. That's our next one we'll look at. We entered on the 8th. You can see this guy, he bottomed, swung up. We got out when we got stopped out when it dropped on the 10th. So, nice run up, nice profit. You can see it's now come down since then. It's now approaching our price target again. We've got a price target here of 32.50. However, I saw a recent bottom. You see this recent bottom was about 34. So I'm looking, if this bottoms and turns possibly tomorrow, even early tomorrow, I'm going to go long SOXS again for another swing like this. I mean, we've heard the strategy behind this is we've heard all the semiconductor companies, NVIDIA, AMD, Micron, etc., all warning that we've now got a semiconductor glut. We've got a decrease in gaming, probably a decrease in chips needed for cryptocurrency mining, etc. So a decrease in demand, excess supply. Again, semiconductors is a very cyclical commodity too. So we see this as a good opportunity with a good thesis to short semiconductors. Once that peaks out, again, we can go long semiconductors again. With SOXL. So again, I really like swinging semiconductors. I also believe that part of this push up in semiconductors, which would be SOXL, is caused by the run in technology. I think they're just running everything technology. Semiconductors getting carried up with it. And the short thesis in semiconductors is something I like. No, I wouldn't long. I want a long SOXS, which is short on semiconductors. Now, if you want to day trade this guy and they start running it up, yeah, SOXL would be the long on semiconductors. And again, you can day trade, scalp these guys on a shorter time frame. I'm looking for a longer term swing. Again, somewhere where it bottoms 34 below down to 32.50 is my target to long SOXS. So. And we'll look at the risk reward profile when we get to our ETF spreadsheet as well. Another major focus is shorting biotechs, very similar. We talked yesterday about biotechs a bit, and a way to short biotechs is with LABD. Last week we tried this thesis. We went long on LABD on the 10th at about 17.16, and you'll see it pretty much stopped us out for break even. So we'll look at the chart in a second. Now, other people I think got better pricing. I think Walter made some nice money on LABD. I think some people got in at a lower price, made some profit, took some profits, etc. I was looking for a bigger swing in this, and we'll try this again. So congratulations to our fellow BeachBum traders who profited on that swing. And again, we're going to try this one again. And we'll look at LABD and Webull real quick. So you can see we went in on the 10th. You can see it kind of pretty much bottomed. It ran up a bit when we get stopped out on the 12th. So you can see it started to run up a bit. You know, you could have taken profits. You could have made some money. I was putting a stop in down below here. I had my stop at break even 17.17, hoping it would continue to run up. It didn't. It broke back down, and so we got stopped out break even. So we didn't lose any money. And again, I'm going to try to swing this guy again. Actually, right before I went to the beach late on Friday, I put a buy order at 1587. Actually, it's still sitting there. It's a good cancel order. So I've got an order sitting there at 1587. So if it had dipped while I was at the beach on Friday afternoon, we would have caught that. And I've still got that sitting there. So that's where I'm looking at a buy on LABD to short biotechs. And again, similar thesis to semiconductors. I think they're getting pushed up with technology and growth in general, but there's a number of tailwinds in biotechs. This Inflation Reduction Act is one where they're going to put price caps on some of the pharmaceuticals. Also, biotechs lose money. We're going into recession, tighter capital restraints. So I think short on biotechs in general is a decent thesis. So those are also, again, two on our watch list, and our main focuses for this week is SOXS, short semiconductors, and SOXL, or LABD, short biotech. You can see here's an article that I included in our notes about NVIDIA warning of lower second quarter revenue. So their guidance is down on semiconductors. And I know people couldn't resist, and they bounced it back up a bit. So again, I like that. I like that thesis. So again, if you want to get real-time alerts on our trades, you could join our Patreon. We try to post these trade alerts when we enter, when we get stopped out, or when we sell to our Patreon. And then those also get posted in the alerts channel of our Discord. You can find an invite to our Discord in the description box below. We also get price alerts automatically posted from Thinkorswim. So I set price alerts in Thinkorswim. When they get hit, if we take a trade following that price alert from Thinkorswim, I will update it in these alerts channels. So you can see it will first trigger, then I'll go check our order, see if we want to buy, see if our stop got hit, and update accordingly in our Discord. And again, you can find an invite to our Discord in the description box below. If you want to get real-time trade alerts, again, I don't recommend anyone blindly follow anyone in trading, but this will tell you what we're doing and possibly give you opportunities. You might even get better pricing than I do. So And welcome, Captain Maddie. Glad to see you as well. Glad to see you guys chatting. So now we'll talk about our real-time watch list for this week. I'm thinning things out a little bit. A lot of these we've been watching for a little while, so I'll go through these quickly. I know we've got some topics and questions and answers to talk about. So first is BVN. This is this Peruvian gold silver miner, etc. They also do hydroelectric power. We've had them on. They've been running up a little bit. We'll see in Weeble in a minute. I'm waiting for it to come back down. I still like it. Possibly do some due diligence on it, but I've got some others to do first. We're going to take this bull FTSE off. You'll see it already ran up. Thank you, Captain Maddie, for that super chat. That is greatly appreciated. We really appreciate your support. Thank you very much. And if there's anything you'd like us to look at or any questions you may have, Captain Maddie, just fire them in the chat, and we'd be happy to try to answer whatever you'd like. So FONR, this is this MRI company. We've been watching for a little while. Again, we'll see it's not quite where I want it. Also, I promised we'd talk about cold. Cold is the short on natural gas. You can see we put that back on our watch list. I'll talk about it a little bit here, and then we're going to look at the charts for natural gas a little bit and talk about, short-term scalps, day trades, etc., natural gas using cold and boil. I'm really looking for it to hit this all-time high again, possibly, or peak over 9 again, and then take another scalp on natural gas using cold. So again, I'll show the chart for natural gas in a minute, and we'll take a look at that. So again, swinging or scalping natural gas, I use boil and cold, and we'll see there's a couple other ETFs in our spreadsheet that you can use as well for longing. Good morning, Walter. Glad to see you. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so we talked about LABD, got that on our watch list to swing. I'm putting PBI, Pitney Bowes, back on. It looks like it may have bottomed, maybe reaching a stable bottom. However, I'm still waiting for it to stabilize, as we'll see. And also, it goes ex-dividend, so their ex-dividend date is the 19th. And I would expect the price to drop by at least 5 cents on that ex-dividend date. So if it bottoms before that, we can get in, collect that 5-cent dividend if we buy before 8.19, or we could wait for that 5-cent drop and then buy it on or after the ex-dividend date. So just be aware, on ex-dividend dates, it will typically drop the value of the dividend. So also we have this due diligence video you can see on Pitney Bowes, why we like it as a turnaround play. They got beat up from their last earnings. So again, we like it as a long-term turnaround play. So again, just a reminder, none of this is financial advice. We're not financial advisors. This is entertainment and education only. Probably more education. I don't know how entertaining I am, but I hope somewhat. So hopefully educational. I don't know about how entertaining. So we're still watching this guy on Euro for a possible push in this dollar strength, pushing down the Euro. Catch that one. USOI is a monthly dividend payer on oil. I'd love to grab that if they spike oil down cheap. And then we're also going to talk about trading volatility, trading the VIX. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, how the VIX has been retracing. I want to show how the correlation between UVXY and the VIX works, and why, even though the UVXY may look like it's bottoming, I'm looking at the VIX to determine when to enter UVXY. I'll look at USOI in just a sec. And again, if we update, we have our patrons have access to daily updates. We have an HTML page they have access to that gets update daily with changes to our watch list. So And other changes I will post to this stock watch list updates channel for access by our Patreons and our Discord. So we'll jump over to our Webull watch list. So here's our real-time watch list in Webull. So I'll just quickly whip through these guys. I'm going to zoom out to a month so we can see, BVN, we can see it's run up a bit. I question whether to take it off, but if it keeps running up, I'll probably take them off. Gold's been running up a bit, but if we get a dip, it's reasonably close to my price target. FONR, again, looks like it went up a little bit. I'd kind of like it down here, and actually I think I have a 1390 or so. So I have a lower price target on it. So I'd like it to come down. Okay, so let's talk about natural gas a little bit. So here's coal, so we can see the near-term bottom on coal was 1093. And we can see it's kind of approaching that, but let's look at natural gas. So I'm going to go to FinViz quickly, and then maybe, I want to go to investing.com. Let's go there first. So again, you can find links to all the tools that I use on our homepage under the links categories. Our homepage is beachbumtrading.com, bum without the U. If you go to the links, you can find all of our social media, the trading platforms, and our trading tools. It's just a quick one-stop shop to get to all of the tools that I use. So I like to look at this little grid here. You can see you got all the indices. I usually have this up on a daily basis. You can also go to commodities. So here's what I like about this little grid is in addition to the price, I can also see a chart. And if you click on one of these guys and open it in another tab, you can get to a more detailed chart. So I wanted to look at that longer term. For natural gas, I like the bar chart. You can see you can choose line, bar, etc. So essentially, my play on natural gas is for an additional scalp, etc. I'm waiting for it to go back up over 9. The previous high we can see. So here's another nice thing about this chart is you can hover over the candles. You can see the highs, lows. So if I go out to the day, there's a 941. Here's a 954. So again, if natural gas breaks up over 9, I'm going to start looking at this chart and waiting for it to peak and roll over. And at that point, then I would go into cold. Now, another thing to understand about cold, and again, someone asked about this in the Discord, so I'm trying to readdress this, is cold is not directly correlated to the price of natural gas. Cold, the constituents of coal are oil and natural gas, or natural gas exploration companies. So it's an indirect correlation. Yes, when natural gas goes up and down, coal typically goes up and down. But again, it's not a direct correlation. Not sure what to think. Chart doesn't look okay. What are you talking? Oh, you're talking about Tesla SPAC? Okay. So I didn't know if anybody had a question about this cold chart. So again, I'm looking for a spike in cold rolling over, ideally near its previous all-time high in the 950, 960 area. I don't even know if it'll get up there again. But when it peaks, spikes like this, that's the time to enter in cold. So I hope that helps. And again, you can do this on any commodity. If you want to scalp oil, when we get to our ETFs, we'll talk about the ETFs you can use to scalp oil. There's a number of them, same thing. You can watch the chart here in investing.com and see, when it peaks, when it rolls over, and scalp, or when it bottoms and bounces, etc. Again, natural gas and oil have been very volatile, so it's great for day trades, scalps, etc. Just be careful. They've been doing these intraday reversals on both of them, and natural gas has been swinging like 5%. So hopefully that answers, how we're going to play cold again. If we zoom out a little bit, 3 months or so, we see where those bottoms are. But again, there's cold is a leveraged ETF, so you really want to watch the commodity itself to determine, when bottoms and tops are. So I hope that helps. Yeah, and again, yes, I agree, Walters. You want to know when they're going to release this inventory data. Although it was kind of strange the last time they released inventory data, the inventories were up, and I think they ran natural gas up. So again, the market reaction to the data isn't always what you would expect, but the longer term trend is now the natural gas inventory is increasing. So. And it was interesting that the oil rig count actually went down. So that says supply may be, they may be reducing supply. So we talked about LABD. Again, right now the bottom's there. Again, I'm waiting for a bottom turn up. Again, I like the thesis. We'll keep trying to scalp swing LABD to short biotechs. Here's Pitney Bowes. Again, you can see it looks like it got a bottom and ran up a bit. I'd like it to catch a dip. If we catch it before the ex-dividend date, collect the dividend, that'd be fine. Otherwise, we'll probably get a little bit of a dip right after ex-dividend date. Again, I think there's a long-term turnaround play. It's got plenty of room. We can see how much room it's got to run. It's got plenty. So we like that. Talked about SOXS. ULE, this is the euro guy. Again, when the dollar was real strong, euro went below parity. So around that $10 range, if we get a dollar strength push, we'd like to go long on the euro. Here's that USOI. Someone was just asking about this. Again, this is a monthly paying dividend on oil. So it is pretty correlated with the price of oil. You can see it's run up as they ran oil back up again. I'd like it ideally, I think around 390. It's quite a bit higher than that. 460 seems to be a pretty attractive price magnet for it as well. So I might take it a little higher just to get in and start collecting that monthly dividend. I'd like to see oil push down into the 80s again. Right now, I think it's still in the 90s. So, and here, okay, so let's talk about volatility. So here I'm going to bring up FinViz. We could do this in investing.com too, but just some diversity. Let's look at the VIX and FinViz. So in FinViz, if you want to look at the VIX, you go VX. So we can see, as we talked about yesterday, the VIX has been retracing, reverting to its mean. It's now, if I look at Thinkorswim on another machine, I think it's still below 20. At 1953 right now, so it's below 20. I'd expect it to continue down unless there's some kind of black swan catalyst. So I want to watch the VIX and to see where the VIX itself bottoms and turns. Because if we look at UVXY, it's just trending down. Well, part of that is the nature of leveraged ETFs, is there's some time decay in leveraged ETFs, and then they rebalance at a point in time. So you see these little pops at a certain time. So it's useful to know when do they recalculate or rebalance. And it looks like, at 9:30, these guys are getting a little pop. So I'm guessing that may be the time at which they're recalculating this leveraged ETF. But you again see it's pretty much just steadily declining, even though we get some little pops in the VIX. So want to see, the VIX bottom and turn, and then I would want to go long in UVXY to catch that turn. Now, again, trading volatility, if you're a day trader, a scalper, a momentum trader, this is something you can do on a daily basis. Is the VIX running up or is it running down? Now, the trend right now, as we can see, is down, but on any given day, you can see you can get a short-term run up and make some money on a day trade. Then the next day is possibly down. You can see this guy ran down and then bounced back up. So again, you can always make some money day trading, scalping, volatility, the VIX, using UVXY, SVXY. So again, there's plenty of ways to make money. It's just, pick what you like, what fits your style, your time frames, etc. If you want help identifying different ways to play your strategy, just let us know. You can ask us in the Discord, in the comments to this video, etc. I'll be happy to try to adapt, even though it may be very different from our trading strategy. So that's what we've got on a real-time watch list for this week for right now. Again, as we update that, we will post that. It'll automatically update to the HTML page our patrons have access to, and then we'll try to update our social media, etc., as we're able. So now we'll talk about our bullpen stocks. And the concept of our bullpen, for anybody who's new to our BeachBum trading community, is stocks we're not watching in real time, but we'll revisit on a daily basis and see if the setup looks more attractive. If so, we'll put them in the game. We'll move them up to our real-time watch list. Again, we have automation that runs on the stocks in our real-time watch list, sends us alerts based on those. So we try to keep that list to a minimum that we're actually watching. So we're kind of cleaning up our bullpen. A lot of these have already run up. So Big Lots has run up, Clicks has run up, ECH, which is the Chilean guy, already ran up. You saw we moved Pitney Bowes up to our real-time watch list. So right now our bullpen's pretty thin. So right now all I've got is TMF, which is treasuries, and we're waiting for that push up in treasury prices. Actually, it'd be a drop in treasury prices to give TMF, which is a long on treasury. So we're looking for that to bottom somewhere, around 1040-ish. So if we get some irrational behavior in the treasuries, then we would play it with TMF. And when we get to our ETF spreadsheet, we'll see the various ways you can play treasuries. So again, right now the bullpen's pretty empty, but we reevaluate stocks on a daily basis, see if they should be added to our watch list, added to our bullpen. If anybody has some recommendations for stocks to add to our bullpen, we can take a look at them, consider them. If we add them, we'll let you all know. Yeah, were you here when Walter, when we talked about natural gas and looking for a peak in natural gas to use coal to short? Yep. Okay, so now we'll look at our ETF spreadsheet. And just information is, last week we talked about sector rotation, and that's also a major theme. I want to look for these opportunities in this sector rotation. So as you'll see, I've added a sectors sheet to our Google Sheet, which our patrons have access to as well. So one of the other things I did this week is I added all the sector spider categories and symbols to the main ETF spreadsheet so I can see support, resistance, etc. So we'll see that as well. So I use this then to, during the day, if we see a sector rotation and I want to know what to trade in terms of ETFs, I can quickly come to this spreadsheet and I can say, okay, here's, biotech. If I want to short biotech, how's it look? Yep, it looks pretty good. I've got 3 greens. That looks pretty good. Where's the support? Let me zoom this guy out a little bit so we can see it all on the same. Okay, so that's not too bad. So there I see, okay, the last price for LABD was 1638. I'd like it, 1586. So I can see the risk reward profile looks pretty good. So again, that's why I'm interested in that guy. So we talked about oil. Okay, another topic from yesterday I want to talk about real quickly is China, shorting China. Yesterday, we talked about the delisting of a number of companies in China, and that, in my humble opinion, I believe there's something behind this. And okay, I see your question, and I'll talk about earnings in just a sec, speculative. So in terms of shorting China, there's a couple. I looked at this ASHR, which is China A shares. It's a way, though that's a long. I looked at this China A shares bear, and we can see the risk reward profile isn't quite as attractive as Yang. So I still like Yang for shorting China, but you can see there are these 2 options. There's several options for longing China. So if they're going to bounce it and try to run it up, again, that's something you can day trade, scalp, etc. There's a number of options. Yen is the one we typically use. You can see the risk reward profile for that. It looks, 52 weeks a little bit better. CWeb's not too bad. We look at the it looks like I need to fix that guy. So again, euros, energy, there's the XLE. So we could see here's the ones from the sector spiders I added. So we can kind of see where they are relative to their 50-week position, etc. I may add that data as well. Here's the sectors spreadsheet within that Google sheet, which is another way nicely to see. You can sort this on which sector is running up, running down. We see they're all green from Friday. We can see consumer discretionary. Again, they were rotating into the worst performers recently. So it looks like they were taking money out of energy and putting it in consumer discretionary. So again, they're rotating these sectors. Whatever's underperforming, they start pouring money into, they run it up a bit, and then they rotate back. Longer term, energy's got the stronger theme. So, well, good. I hope you find these Google Sheets, these spreadsheets helpful. I'm starting to use these much more. And again, with the sector rotation, I find it helpful. Also, you can see the volume. So again, I can kind of get a feel for if they're taking money out and moving it, and if they're going to move from consumer discretionary back to energy and materials. I can see that during the day. And then I can jump over to my ETF spreadsheet and say, okay, how do I want to play that? So I could see, okay, what have I got for consumer discretionaries? There's consumer staples. Here's another consumer discretionary guy. It's a 3X. Maybe I want to pick that one, It's got some leverage. So we talked about natural gas and oil. Just real quickly, we talked about cold and boil. So cold's the only ETF I have to short. But if you're going to long, you have Boyle's typically the one we use, but you can also play UNG or UNL. You can see the risk reward profiles are pretty similar. With oil, again, Drip and Gush are oil companies. So you can see they're oil and gas exploration companies. So indirect correlation with the oil price. But then you've got SCO to short oil and UCO to long oil, which are based on the WTI price. And then we've got USOI, which again is a monthly dividend paying guy that we like. So If you want to scalp, day trade oil, number of options. You've also got this NRGU, which is a U.S. big oil leveraged ETF. So again, a number of options in those regards. Here's semiconductor, SOXS and SOXS ULE. So we can see it's sitting at 33.92, support at 31.20. We see the risk reward for shorting is better than longing, much better than longing right now. So I hope that all helps. Here's treasuries again, TMF. We can see we like the risk reward on TMF. You can see, why we like that one better from a near-term standpoint. It's got the best risk reward profile. The next, that's just in general the best one. TTT is not too bad. Another one I was looking at is this short on utilities. We could see it's right now about 10, 992. It's got a pretty attractive risk reward right now, but it's not that exciting from a support resistance standpoint. So 1.14. So again, a very short-term trade, short on utilities, particularly if they're rotating out. So if they run utilities up and then start rotating out, that might be opportunity right there, is to short utilities. Again, these are opportunities when they do these sector rotations. So keep an eye on the sector rotation. Then if you, again, need help in identifying ways to play that, let me know, and I'll help as I'm able. So, okay. So if anyone doesn't have any questions about the ETF spreadsheet, let me answer SPAC's question about earnings. He was asking whether, let me see if I could find it and put it up there. There we go. So there's his question about earnings. Do I play reactions? Absolutely. Ideally, if you, and I know you've been around for a while, SPAC, so you've probably heard this before, is I like to catch irrational reactions to earnings. So, if somebody comes out and reports, if it's a good company and they react very negatively to their earnings report and they drive the price way down, yes, then that's an opportunity. IBM, we played that, I think, way back in the day. GE, Bud, Cody are a number of earnings plays that they had irrational reactions to earnings. They drove the price way down. We scooped them up and made a nice profit that way. So yes, earnings matter. And again, I'm listening. And then when CNBC, they come out, they announce the earnings, and I can see some kind of irrational reaction. Then typically we're longing, so it's rare. I can't really short, but the semiconductor stuff. That was if they drive the price up and the NVIDIA, et cetera, are warning that business is going to slow down. In my opinion, that's an irrational reaction to earnings. So, yes, we definitely we listen to earnings, and I'm always looking for opportunities based on, again, irrational reactions to earnings. So I hope that helps. No change to the shopping list. So, quality companies that are recession-proof, inflation-proof, not too much debt that's interest rate sensitive, etc. We'll see how much time we have today. I might talk about some other trade ideas I'm thinking about, but I wanted to address another question that Spacula asked in the Discord about a couple EV companies, specifically Rivian and Lucid. So to answer the question shortly is I've really never looked at these in detail. So I have not yet done my standard due diligence, even my standard due diligence on Rivian or Lucid or a lot of the other recent EV companies. A lot of these guys are new. We don't typically show much interest in companies that have IPO'd less than a year because I don't have history, etc. So generally, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to them in terms of due diligence. However, since y'all are asking and are interested in it, and I think it might be an interesting due diligence, is I can do our standard due diligence videos on Rivian, Lucid, and then if you guys have an interest in due diligence videos on similar EV companies or stocks, let me know which ones you might be interested in. I know Nikola recently acquired Romeo RMO, which was a battery company that was driven down cheaply. That was one of those acquisitions that I've been talking about. Is again a irrational reaction. They drive the price of a company way down, and they've got some value. They're going to be acquisition targets, and so yeah, Nikola's buying Romeo. It's a stock deal, so we actually have some RMO, some Romeo stock. It's probably not a great buy. I probably got FOMO'd into that back in the day, but it's been going up a little bit. So again, if there's other EV companies you'd like me to look at, if you guys want to see due diligence videos on those, let me know. And but I think those two are a good idea. Just real quickly, I'll just pop the charts on these guys. I know I really need to do my standard due diligence to be able to really address your question appropriately. But so we can see, Rivian's relatively new. Now, some things I did hear about Rivian, they just came out with earnings, and it sounds like they're supply constrained. They have supply chain issues. They can't essentially deliver their orders or increase production. They've got supply chain issues. They've got manpower issues. And, here's the first thing I look at right away is they're losing tons of money. So my next question is, how much cash have they got? You see the cash per share is pretty low. It's 16 and their price is 38. So their price to cash, yeah, it's going to be high. We want that 1 or less. Price to book is a little high. So again, I'd want to do more digging and say, are they going to be able to survive a recession, or are they going to? And again, and sorry if I'm babbling a little bit. Hey, Flippa, glad to see you. Thank you for joining us. Chances are, given they're losing all this money, I can't imagine they have enough. They're going to have to dilute. So if you buy now, the odds are if they run out of money, they're going to have to offer more shares, sell more shares to make it through the recession till they can maybe survive. And the same's going to be true of Lucid, I'm sure. So, that's a big risk with an IPO, particularly if they're losing a lot of money, is how much dilution are you going to suffer? Do you really want to buy now? Or wait till they dilute the heck out of it and they're starting to turn the corner, and then maybe buy at that point. That would be my tendency. Is I'll just wait till they dilute everything down. Once they actually start making or project they're going to make a profit, that would be the time I'd be interested in. So Lucid, here's Lucid. Lucid looks pretty flat. And again, I am assuming this was a SPAC since it bounced off of $10. At least it's above $10. And again, they're losing a truckload of money. So same question, right? How much cash do they have? Their cash per share is only $2.65. So it's much lower than Rivian. So my gut would say they're in cash trouble and they're going to have to dilute a bunch. And they've got a truckload of shares already. So it was a SPAC, so they probably got a little bit of a war chest of cash from their initial SPAC offering. But when are they going to run out of money, and when do they project they're going to be profitable? Again, I have not done the due diligence. I will probably do those videos, dig into their companies. I'll give you my opinions. Do I think they're even going to survive? How much dilution are they going to suffer? What kind of market? I know the Lucids are, I think, higher end, but yeah, I could talk about that more in those videos, but I hope that at least, gives you some things to think about. And if you, again, want to talk about other EV companies, I stole this article from Douglas PC had posted this, I think, in the beginner trading Discord, and I grabbed it. It gives you a list of other EV related companies that you might be interested in. And then if you want to post in our Discord other ones that you might want similar due diligence videos on. And then I thought maybe we could do a comparison, of all the EV related stocks, kind of a summary after we get the individual due diligence videos. So tell me what you think of that, if that's something you would like and benefit from, and what stocks you would like me to include in those due diligence videos and in that EV market comparison. So maybe I'll even steal some stuff from ARK. I know they do good analysis, good research on the markets, and particularly on Tesla, etc. Okay, let me see what Walter's question is. Wise to do a look through the whole EV sector. Try to make some choices for long term. Yeah, again, I'd like to talk about the EV market. Let me just make a quick comment. Is auto companies in general. Think about the original auto companies and how many there were and how many are left and what they've been through. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Tucker, but it was a startup auto company. I thought it was a halfway decent movie. I know you've seen DeLoreans in Back to the Future. Cool car, wing doors, gone. There are a lot of niche car companies that didn't survive. And some of the big ones had to get bailed out in the Great Recession. So we're headed into a recession. So what's going to happen to not only the small car companies, but the big car companies? So along your question about is it time to invest in EV companies, I don't know. We're headed into a recession. You need to really think about how are they going to come out of the recession? What's the health of the company? How much are they going to have to dilute? Are they going to go under? What happens if this is a bad recession? In terms of long-term investing, do you want that risk, or do you want to wait till see how they do coming out of the recession? So that's just, again, my opinions, not financial advice. I would have to look in detail at the companies to see how healthy they are before I would make an investment. Now, another area to look at, and you guys can think about, is the input commodities. So battery commodities, lithium. Now I know they ran that way up, so maybe if it comes back down, that's an opportunity. Graphite, silver is in a lot of EV components. It's a conductor. It's also in a lot of solar panels, etc. That's one of the reasons we're bullish on silver. So again, think about the materials, because no matter which of these EV companies wins, they all have to use those materials. So again, further questions, comments, you can put them in the comments to this video below. Join our Discord. Our Discord is free to join. There's an invite in the description box below. So join in the conversations. We'd love to have you. So we also have a Facebook group. If you'd like to discuss in Facebook, that works as well. We have a Facebook group, and you can always hit us up on social media as well. Again, you can find the links to all our social media sites, both in the description box below and the link section to on our website, beachbumtrading.com, bum without the U, and on the About page of our YouTube channel. So if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, we hope you will choose to subscribe. And let's work together and build this BeachBum trading community. I'm really happy to see the number of people joining us in the discussions increasing, activity in the Discord increasing. Let's keep growing because everyone benefits. The more fellow traders we have, everyone benefits by helping each other out. So tell two friends, tell two friends about our channel. Come join us in the live streams and the chats and the Discord, etc. So let's build up the community for everyone's benefit. So if there aren't any last minute questions, again, you can always ask me in the Discord. I'll try to respond as soon as I'm able. I hope I was able to catch and answer most of the questions. And thank you all for joining us. And good luck and have a great trading week.